I really feel like we need a new rebrand. I think we can call the podcast Dirty Hippie with Gentle Jeffrey. I just don't know what my vanilla name's gonna be because I like the alliteration.
I have to think about your vanilla name, but I'm down with that. But until we change the name, this is I'm Not Wrong with Jeff and Andrew. I'm Jeff, that's Andrew. Let's get into it. So since you brought up the garden, I'll give a quick update.
I
Garden is
did.
doing
How's the garden?
extremely The garden is doing extremely well. Compost, not so much. I think my balance of my browns and greens in the compost is got off, so I had to add some more browns to it. It's not uh, composting as well as
So let me understand this. You have somehow managed to create and or nurture life, but you can't get throwing crap into a pile so that it decomposes correct.
see.
That's
So first of all, it's not in a pile; it's in a tumbler. Second of all, it's not as like if you eventually it will, but to get it to go at the correct rate and stuff like that, well, you need a mixture of greens, which would be like kitchen scraps. So like the tops of strawberries might come, any of that stuff, just typical kitchen scraps, not dairy or meat, but vegetables, stuff like that. And then browns, which is more like dried leaves and stuff like that, which produces or provides the carbon that really breaks it down, and that gives you the right mixture of the microbes to get everything going. If you get out of that balance, if you have too many browns and not enough greens, you'll get overly dry and it won't break down as well. If you get too many greens and not enough browns, it'll get overly wet and it'll rot and it'll decompose, but it takes a lot longer because it's not eating up the carbon the way it's supposed to, and you get fruit flies and things like that, which
so
I
is
have a
this
lot of. So
like the people that make sourdough bread where they have, they're
I
like
do that
little
too.
yeast starters. I know you do. Um, is there like a compost starter, like an enzyme pack or something you need to break all this crap down,
So
or
you can
can Mother Nature just
so
take it?
so yes and no. Like you can do that. You can start compost with some mature compost sort of, and it like can help it. But you can also just start it from nothing, and that's what I've done. And like it's if the balance gets off, all you have to do is just go correct the balance, which is what I did. So like basically you want a 50-50 mix, but it's more by weight than by like volume. And so like obviously your browns like dried leaves and stuff, which I live in the woods, so I have an ample supply of dry leaves all over the place. That's not an issue, but the volume of them has to be very massive to equate to the mass of the kitchen scraps I have.
So this
So
is so this is balance in the sense of 50-50, not balance as in the force, where there can somehow be a whole bunch of one and then like two of the other, and we'll be like, that's unbalanced. We still
yes,
have the
correct. It's
two.
it's
Okay.
actual balance.
Real
So
balance.
it's like
Okay,
mass
okay.
balanced.
And
So
part
it's like
two,
that.
dark side question. Have you pooped into your compost in order to help it?
I have not. I had not even considered that as an option.
Because as
And
soon as
I,
you
I
said a
think I
mix
will
of brown and
continue to not
green,
consider that as an option. Um,
okay,
it's
last question. Has it been an issue sourcing green things for your compost, considering for a long time when I've known you, your diet was basically red meat and more red meat?
So I still eat primarily red meat and more red meat. However, I actually do eat a fairly large amount of vegetables and fruits. So it has actually not been hard. Actually, the
Okay,
problem,
you eating them or using them to make baby food for your daughter?
it's actually me primarily.
Okay, respect,
I
respect,
do I
Jeffrey.
do
I'm
that as
impressed.
well. I do that as well, but like I eat strawberries, especially right now. This is strawberry season in the South, so I can get fresh local strawberries. I'm also growing some, so I eat those like crazy. I eat a lot more salads and things than I used to when I knew you. However, I always put meat into them, so I do still eat a lot of red meat, and I'm never going to change that. But greens is the problem with my compost is actually that I had too many greens.
Well,
So,
that's
so
what
like
this is what we said. You just have
my
to
balance
venture
got
into the
off in a
woods.
direction you would not expect. My balance got off because I had too much of that and not enough of the dry leaves type stuff.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Well,
just went piles of leaves from my yard and put them in.
I'm glad your garden's doing good, but talking about the forest gathering leaves, I thought about making jokes about you getting ticks, but I want to go a different direction.
Okay.
Ants. Ants to me Would you say they are inherently good or bad? If you had to put them at one end of like the good bad spectrum, good or bad?
If I had to pick,
Yeah,
I guess if you're forcing me to pick, I would say they're
I
inherently
am.
good, I
See,
guess.
I'm in the same mind, and I'm specifically because of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Auntie.
See, I'm more specific. I mean, like, I didn't put that much, I didn't have a thing, but if I was going to have a thing of why, I guess it would be a
Yeah.
Bug's Life.
Okay, good. Very good. And see, in where I'm going with this is I just finished the Solo Leveling anime. It was good. You're one of your recommendations.
Very good. Yes.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched it. I'm very behind, so it's
I
kind
mean,
of on you at this
season
point.
2 of Solo Leveling ended well over a year ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is going to be spoiler full. If you, for some reason, are into anime and have not watched that, kind of on you.
Yeah. And I know they were setting up ants as the enemy, and I was like, okay, I'm working with it. They're on an island, bunch of ants. Okay. And then we got super ants. And I, for whatever reason, just all like immersion tension evaporated from my body. When the ant started talking, it was like, "Are you the king?" I was like, it's an ant." Like I just something about it. Like there were no stakes or tension the moment it became an ant for me, and I don't know why. Because I'm so willing to accept a bunch of really stupid things as like enemies, but an ant would be like,
So I'll
it,
challenge you.
it,
I'll challenge you
it,
back
it,
on this for a different reason than you might think,
yeah.
because I have narratively for Solo Leveling. I could give reasons why I don't agree, but I'll just stick with just your initial premise of ants good or bad. Like I agree with you. I don't necessarily view ants as an enemy, but if you had human-sized, or in this case, larger than human-sized ants, I would consider them massively bad because ants are by nature extremely territorial and they are very, very deadly to things in their size bracket. So ants
Some.
being able to fight humans are like just in general, ants, I mean like ants take down all kinds of bigger things because they work collectively. So I actually do think an ant with the scale of a human being, like the Jeju Island ants, would be a frightening thing for humans.
I don't know why. I don't, and I still cannot for life explain because it was an incredible show, still is. Like for
I still think you
whatever
need to jump into the manhwa
for
because
whatever reason though, that is an enemy. It would be like it almost hit me like the rodents of unusual size from Princess Bride or the rabbit from Monty Python. Like deadliness was not questioned, but the ridiculousness
of it
broke
being an ant.
immersion for me in a sense. And I don't know why that is a bridge too far. I will get on board with damn near anything.
I will grant you that of all the monsters they have shown in Solo Leveling, making the strongest one encountered so far, a giant talking ant, was a weird decision. I will grant you that because
Thank
they've
you.
had well, you haven't seen it yet. They've had other very cool
He
things.
has the worm, Wyrum, dragony
He has a
boy. He's got
wyvern,
him
but
on
there's like a
yeah, Wyvern.
legit dragon
Oh, nice.
that like later in the manhwa, which will
Dark
eventually in the
elves,
anime at
orc
some point.
mages. We got all sorts of
Yeah.
great
So I will grant you
fantasy
the
enemies.
decision to make Beru, who I will tell you from a narrative, from a story perspective, let go of the ant thing. Just the character of Beru as one of his servants is awesome. As you get deeper into the story and you understand more about what Genu really is and why he's so strong and all those things, Beru becomes very, very cool. Aside from that, though, I will grant you making Jeju Island a bunch of ants as opposed to orcs or goblins or dragons or
Any
almost anything you could have come up with. I will grant you strange decision. I will stand by what I said. I think human-sized ants or larger than human-sized ants would be a major threat to humanity because just think of what ants do when they're like carpenter ants, the bigger ants that like are in the jungle and stuff. Those things can take down humans already. So now you get giant ants that are bigger than you and I, and like make them territorial. They would be a threat. So I'm not gonna I don't fully get behind your thing of like they're not threatening, but I do agree with you. It's a strange choice to make that the big giant bad guy when you've had so many. Like he went to an entire demon realm.
100 floors of it. And it's not that they're not threatening. That wasn't the discussion. Just to be clear here, because I know like fire ants will f you up.
Yes.
We're deep enough in where when we post this, that swear won't get us in trouble, but we can bleep it. Or we can cut this. Either way. So, okay, fair enough. But so the viability of ants, taking me out, I don't doubt it. I know they could kill me. Now, if we scale them up, I feel like their numbers would have to reduce. Otherwise, they're just becoming like borderline like locust plagues where they would just wipe out everything. And lots of animals would be.
They addressed that on Jeju Island. That they are eating themselves because they've run out of
which
food.
Is why exactly. So that's why I think some of the scale of it long term they're very apocalyptic. But either way, it's threatening. But to me, it was more. Even then, it was from a survival perspective. There wasn't the malice and the evil of some of the other enemies. It was more like, well, I mean, we're big. We need calories. We can either eat each other or eat not us.
So I will tell you, it may not satisfy you entirely, and I'm not going to spoil beyond where you're at. So we're spoiling for people watching who are not familiar, but I'm not spoiling beyond that for you. I will tell you, they somewhat address why all these monsters are a threat in general later in the series when you start to understand where they're coming from and what those gates really are. It does give a little bit more to it, and so. Just the simple fact of what the gates are, anything that's coming through the gates is a threat to a human. So that may help you, but your overall complaint I can understand. I will still say Solo Leveling is one of the best anime / manhwa, not manga because it's Korean, that I have ever watched and read. I consume a decent amount of anime of a very wide variety of topics, actually, not just shonen, not just like I watch a lot of things that are like definitely not targeted at guys.
Yeah, a lot of high school romance for you. Whatever.
I actually do watch a few of those, and I'm not going to pretend I don't. My Dress Up Darling is one of my absolute favorite series, and I don't care. I find it heartwarming, and I enjoy it.
Respect you for standing on it, no doubt.
I will stand on that all day. I find it heartwarming. It makes me genuinely happy, and I watch it. I've watched every season. I'm reading the manga. Don't care.
Hey, that's awesome. I got Drag Race.
My point, I read a very wide variety of things in that space. Solo Leveling is hands down one of my absolute favorites. I don't know, it's very much like the video game thing. I thought early on watching, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get into this. This seems kind of ridiculous. But I don't know, it just works. And it's paced well enough that it's just constantly going. I think it's cool. Jinu Sung is a super cool protagonist. The characters around him are cool. I think it's an awesome story.
The story's great. The concept's great. And really,
the concept gets better when you understand more than what you know now. I will tell you that. It gets better.
And the concept itself of kind of blending those video game elements, I think it really does hit home for a lot of nerds. Because, like, hell, lit RPGs are a thing now. Which, granted, I've sampled one. It's good.
Yeah,
they're real good.
So
a lot of fun.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Dungeon Call of Karl. Mm-hmm. I had heard of it before you texted me about it, but I had never I didn't know much about it. I'd seen it on the shelf and I'd heard it was popular. Mm-hmm. And I know it's a literary RPG. I'm going to ask you a few questions and then you can kind of explain it to me, because when I hear that, my initial thought is choose your own adventure book, which we remember from when we were kids. Yeah. I read those a bunch when I was a kid, largely because I did not enjoy reading, and I used one book for 5 book reports. I don't know why my teacher let me do that, by the way, but he did let me do it. And
you go 5 different paths. That's 5 different stories.
It sort of, yeah. So but when I think that's immediately what I think of. But because they're not calling it a choose your own adventure book, which is a thing that's been around for a while, I have to assume it's more than that. So I am curious what it is that it's not a choose your own adventure book and it's not a pen and paper RPG. Because the other thing I could think of is a pen and paper RPG, Dungeons and Dragons, right? Which is it's all written down. It's obviously neither of those. So what
No, sir.
actually is it?
So essentially, it is a story, typical, story-driven
Yeah,
plot points, characters, everything else, but there's a lot of RPG themes to it. So essentially, the plot premise for Dungeon Crawler Carl is there's a galactic syndicate. Time out, hit me.
yeah, so when you say RPG elements to it, do you mean just like the story has RPG elements, or
Yes.
are you saying you as the reader are doing art? So when
No.
they say RPG, they really just mean like you're reading a game essentially. In that.
Essentially,
Okay,
instead of playing an
you're not
RPG, it's
playing
very
anything.
much reading it. No, 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 no. So
Okay,
there's no
that was a
decision
big
points.
question I had. Is
Yeah,
like, are you
no.
playing this book?
So, and it'll make a lot of sense once I give you the plot. So the plot is essentially there's a galactic syndicate. Another company has claimed the mineral rights to Earth. So
Okay,
what they've done is any building, they collapse down. And this is all revealed like the first 10 pages. So minor spoilers, but they set up quick. So basically, this company comes, they're like, hey, we get to mine Earth. They collapse everything more than 0 stories tall, killing people. So the only people that survive are those that are outside. The protagonist is outside because his cat jumped into a tree, so he ran out in his boxers, girlfriend's Crocs, and a leather coat to retrieve the cat.
I knew a cat was a major part of the story.
Yes.
So okay,
Yeah. So so basically, most of humanity's wiped out, and then they open up these portals. You walk into the portal, and it comes to find out, well, yes, the company gets money from the mineral rights of Earth, but the real money is in this reality dungeon crawler show that they've set up, where there's 20 floors, and the humans that survived are now competing to move down. And eventually, if you make it to the 20th floor and beat the boss, you become the new ruler of the planet. The planet gets spared. It's like your little fiefdom.
okay, that
And
does sound cool. That sounds like a cool
yes,
story.
so that's the story, and where it becomes an RPG is because he is literally crawling a dungeon. There's a lot of role-playing game tropes. So they don't have save points, but there's safe rooms. He gets achievements because people are watching. So when he does stuff, he will get an achievement. Achievements give loot boxes give gear. There's
Okay.
quests, there's NPCs. So it's very much a role-playing game. It's just you read it, and whereas like Final Fantasy, you're controlling the character, you're going A to B. Like how you choose to get there, you might straight line, you might swerve, but
Mhm.
you're still operating in that set path. That's what this is. It's
Okay.
essentially an RPG video game, removing a lot of the open world stuff and just sticking you on that like plot
On the
quest.
path. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes a heck of a lot more sense.
Hmm.
I will say, I do not think that is really a genre. Like, I'm not disputing that the book is good or any of that because it sounds cool from what you've told me. I know it's extremely popular.
Indeed.
You've recommended it.
Oh yeah.
I intend to go buy the first one, read it, see if I get into it. It does sound like something I would like. So I'm not disputing the merits of Dungeon Crawler Carl. I am going to, however, dispute the idea that this is a genre in and of itself because it sounds like for two reasons. So one, if it's a genre in and of itself, it really sounds like an American isekai. So are you familiar with the term isekai?
No.
Manga anime. So an isekai is very popular. You raising your desk while doing this is very weird.
And I tried to stay centered in the frame as I was
Yes,
standing. Yeah.
it was kind of interesting, but so an isekai is like they're very popular right now in anime. The probably one of the most popular ones, which is another one I'd recommend by the way, is called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's actually really entertaining.
I knew that. Okay.
It's the
Interesting.
fourth season of it just started, but and it's really good.
Okay.
Me and Ashley have watched all of it up to this point. Ashley has read the light novel it's based on, that's still coming out and is like way ahead of where the anime is. But isekais are mostly like someone either gets summoned to a different world from our world, or they get reincarnated, and like they're they're in that world now as some adventurer or something, and they have their memories, and they're like playing. A lot of
Overlord.
them have video game elements, and they're like, "Oh, I'm part of this party of the heroes party," or "Oh, I've got
Yeah,
to
it
go
sounds a
level
lot
up this
like
skill."
Overlord would
Yes,
be my first.
Overlord is an isekai.
Oh, okay, there we have it.
Overlord is a
Which
slightly different isekai just because of the way it's done, but it's an isekai.
and it makes me feel like the whole lit RPG. I wonder which came first because I could very much see like in America being like, oh, here's an existing thing, and being
And that's
like,
what I'm saying. So I don't think it's
surprise.
like, I guess you could call it a genre because isekai is its own genre, but it sounds to me just like an American isekai. And I'm pretty sure that those have been around a lot longer than this has. And it sounds like the guy was like, "Oh, that's really popular in Japan. I'm going to write that." And that's fine. Like I have no issue with that. But it's not like a new thing. It seems to me very Overlord's a great example. Overlord is an isekai. It's been around a long time. It's very popular, but it's mostly done in anime and light novels, not so much in full blown American novels. So I guess it's new to American stuff. It doesn't feel that new to me. The other thing is I struggle with the concept of whether it's a genre from a book perspective as well, just because like it's a fantasy book that's just got some RPG tropes to it. I don't know that it's a new thing. I guess it's like I would call it maybe a subgenre, but I guess I'm getting picky on
And
it. Either
even
way, it does
then,
sound cool.
even then, it's nitpicky because like sci-fi fantasy, like where do you delineate? Because it's very much both. There's,
Yeah.
teleportation, there's alien, space travel, all that good stuff. There's some intergalactic politics sprinkled in. And then, they have orcs and hobgoblins and goblins. And even
Yeah, it sounds
then,
very isekai, by the way, which is
that
again not a bad
is.
thing. Like a lot of the things I watch right now are isekais,
Mhm.
and they're very popular, so it's a smart
Yeah.
thing to do.
So yeah, I mean, and it's, definitely a great time, and there's a lot of humor to it, and the cat starts to talk, but also very early.
That's cool.
Um,
I'm
and
definitely gonna
yeah,
read it. Like it sounds entertaining. It sounds like
yeah,
something I would enjoy.
yeah. Princess Donut is the name of the cat. And, like, I
Okay.
think her full name is like Princess Donut, the Queen Anne Chunk, or I forget. But either way, a lot of fun. But oh man, I can't tell if this is me being just kind of like dickish and not wanting to interact with people, or if
Most likely, yes, but go on.
or it could have been the Borders guy. So I have to go to Borders to find book 2 and 3 because book 1 ends on a cliffhanger. It's super annoying. I'll bring 2 with me. I just finished it, and I'll leave it with you in case you get into 1 because it's
Okay.
not in paperback yet, which is annoying.
One isn't on
But
paperback yet?
no, 1 is, but 2 and 3 are not,
Okay, okay.
which is kind of annoying. And so, anyway, I'm checking out at Borders, and the guy's like, Dungeon Call of Karl, huh? I'm like, yeah, I read the first one, really liked it. It was, the first time I was exposed to it. And he just goes, yeah, these aren't my favorite. Like, okay.
Nice. I didn't ask.
And he's like, yeah, I read this and it's on this website. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, no doubt. Yeah, I don't want
Out of
to
curiosity, do you
read.
remember what he said he read?
No,
Oh,
because
okay.
at this point, when after he was like, not my favorite, I'm like, oh, I didn't ask. I felt very judged. I don't know why. Maybe I'm insecure. But then he goes on to tell me like what he prefers and what where he reads it. I was like, yeah, no, I have no interest in reading things on a screen. I need a physical book. Maybe if it, comes into the tangible world, I'll give it a look. He's like, because then he goes, he's like, yeah, because it's honestly, it's just way better. I'm like, oh, no doubt, and I go about my way.
So I'll address two separate points you have.
Okay,
First about the guy, no, that was not you being a dick. That was that guy being a dick.
thought so.
I get that in retail. Like, look, one space. I've worked in a lot of things. I worked in fast food. I delivered pizzas and stuff like that, like high school jobs. And I've worked in the workforce, as have you. One thing I've never done is work retail, and I know it's supposed to suck. And I get that like some of them are like they're trying to have a nice conversation, but like I think that's overly. I think you're getting too familiar. Like, I did not ask for your book recommendation. Like, and maybe that's me being a snooty jerk. Like, serve me from the left and don't look me in the eye. Like, like,
I think it's more of a hey, if you like this, consider this. Not you
yeah,
like
not like
that. This is better.
yes,
The
that's a
the
good way
latter
to.
pissed me off.
And maybe that is the problem because like if he had said like, oh, I read that. if you like that, you might like. I probably wouldn't be as offended by it, but I'm offended on behalf of you from that comment because that would have irritated me. Like, cool, thanks for trashing the purchase that I did not ask your opinion on, and then telling me about this other thing that I did not ask you about. Like,
And I
just
get it.
let me check out for my book, and I will not talk to you again.
I get it to an extent. Like, this guy's a book guy. It's what he does. He, reads much more than I do, I'm sure. He seemed very passionate about it. I'm very much, in the New York Times bestseller, Main Street Lane, basic bitch, whatever, don't care.
Yeah, you read what you enjoy. Who cares?
Exactly. That's kind of my thing.
Well, just I
It,
mean, there's two, and we've talked about this off air. I'm going to talk about it on air now to piss off an entirely new set of people. If you read management books for fun in your free time, you suck. Like, like. Well, and this is what I'm about to say. So here's how we got here, and the reason I'm saying this is like, I read for enjoyment. If you don't like what I'm reading for enjoyment, I don't care. You don't need to big dog me with like, oh, I read this book by Warren Buffett. But I didn't ask. Like, I read Tom Clancy books for fun. Like, I don't want to sit and read this stupid book you just read. If I'm reading in my free time, it's not because I need to better myself. It's because I want to do something entertaining. Like, I'm not reading a book on man. I'm reading something for fun. Similarly, and that's how I got to this point. Similarly, if I'm buying a book at your store that I just told you I liked the first one, you do not need to tell me why it's stupid. I did not ask. Now, again, if you think like you can make a connection, be like, if you liked that, you might really like this. That's a different thing. You're now framing it in a different way. You're being polite and you're giving me a recommendation I may enjoy. I can listen to that. But as of all of the dickish tendencies I have, and we will both acknowledge we both have many, they're pretty much the same ones. One tendency I do not have, one thing I am very cognizant of, and I think you can even attest to this fact, whether I like something or not, I go out of my way to not make someone else feel bad about something they enjoy.
Except just shitting on the people for management books. Yes.
That's because none of those people are doing it because they enjoy it. They do it because they think it's making them better.
I know, I just couldn't resist the opportunity. But no, that's fair. And
Like, if they told me, like, I genuinely enjoy reading these books, I find them entertaining, I would think it was weird, but I'd let it go. But if you're reading them because you're like, this is a more intellectual use of my time, you're not reading it for fun, you're reading it because you're a dick.
would you be able to let that one go? Because I feel like I would have to poke a little bit.
I would let it go to an extent, but I would ask some questions like,
Yeah,
what do you like
I would
about it?
absolutely have
What
follow-ups.
do
I
you
would
like
have to
about it?
know.
Because I want to genuinely know why you enjoy these.
Thank you.
Um,
That's where I'm
but again, if you're reading it for personal enjoyment, I'm going to let it go. The problem is I've never met somebody who reads those for enjoyment. They read them because they're trying to tell you, you waste your time reading fiction. I read things that make me smarter than you. It's like, no, you just read things that are boring because you think you're better than everybody else. That's my problem with it. And I am willing to tell people like that they suck. But if someone tells me like, I'm really into I'm really into this type of book, cool. Like, I may not be. I know a lot of people who read like murder mystery, but like, I have no interest in that. I would never read one. I think they're boring. However, if that's your thing, cool. Like, I don't understand that. Similarly, people buy cars I don't like all the time. And you know what I do? And like, they're proud of them. They're happy about them. And you know what I say? That's awesome. I'm really happy for you that you got what you wanted. Because what benefit is it of mine to tell them, oh, I think the car you buy is a pile of crap. I wouldn't be caught dead in one. I think they're hideous and they suck. What do I gain from that? I gain the ability to be a dick. Like, not everybody in the world would like the car I have. And I don't care. I like it. And so that's kind of more what I mean. If it's something that brings you joy, I'm not going to rip on it. So I don't understand the need of a complete stranger to be like, oh, that book you bought is total crap. You're an idiot. That just seems really bothersome.
Yeah, and ultimately, it was a little column A, little column B there, and ultimately just bad, conversation.
Also, just bad retail. Yeah,
it's like just bad overall salesmanship, or like a bad way to kind of engage somebody. To like, I'm cooler than you. Let me know why.
Yes.
Like,
and
don't
if you
care.
thought you were going to make money off of me with some kind of soft sale, like, you didn't. So agreed on that. Here's the second thing I wanted to address, where this is like, it again, your personal preference. I don't understand it. Don't care. It doesn't bother me. But like your anti e-reading thing, I don't really like. I don't. Mm-mm. I will say I prefer a physical book. I do enjoy them. However, I e-read a lot of things. A good example, we talked about this. Solo Leveling was originally a webcomic that became a light novel, and then the webcomics published as the manhwa turned into the anime. Most of the webcomics now, most or all of it, I can't remember. I have to go look at the last volume because I own all of them, are published now. But when I finished season 2, I was really into the story, and I had bought everything that was already printed. And I was like, I want to finish the story because the story had been done for years. So I went and read the original webcomic because it's identical. And I know you said you wouldn't do that because you won't read it on a screen. That doesn't bother me. The other thing I do is I have a Kindle Paperwhite. It's a hand-me-down that I think I got from my wife. I don't think I've ever bought a Kindle, but I have a Paperwhite, which is the one
Wait,
that
but
looks like a page
that's only for like ebooks, right? Like you can't just go to a website and read on it, can you?
on the Kindle. No.
No, okay.
So
That was my
I
other
read Solo
thought.
I read the Solo Leveling manhwa on my iPad.
Ooh, yeah. I can't
But
bring myself to do it. I don't know why.
just like I read Shonen Jump on my iPad every week because that's the only way to read the weekly Shonen Jump release in America.
It would be
So I
cheaper if I could start e-reading though, because
I read like weekly Shonen Jump, which I need to read today actually because it drops on Sundays to read the newest One Piece and some other manga I will read. I read those on my iPad every week because that's pretty much the only way is to read it on the web because they don't print it weekly in America like they do in Japan. Anyway, so I e-read, and like for books, a lot of times, especially when I was traveling really heavily for work, I travel with a Kindle Paperwhite, which again is different than the normal Kindle because it's the one that's like the
The
screen is matte and
yeah.
it looks like a book page. And I prefer that because it does hurt my eyes a lot less and it is a lot more like reading a book. But I like having that because it's like this big in terms of thickness, and it's like this. So it fits in my backpack super well, and I can have like 1,000 books on
Yes,
it.
but
So
but at that point,
if I'm on
hmm,
a flight, I don't want a bunch of books in my backpack along with my laptop and all my other stuff. I have that, and like if I'm reading a book, I can just have that, and then I can have the next like 3 books all ready to go. So if I bust through a bunch of books, I can just keep reading. So to me, it's convenience. I will agree with you that physical books are better, but I like the convenience of a thing. The other thing I'll say is I've made a very strong case in the past. I prefer physical media. So anything I read that I genuinely love, I will then go and buy in print. If even if I read it on a Kindle or like One Piece as an example, I read that on Shonen Jump. I go back. I've gone back and bought all the volumes because if it's anything that I really like and I want to own, I will only buy things I own in physical media because they cannot be altered. So I understand your like of it. I don't understand your total refusal to e-read, but I understand your preference to not.
just staring at the screen, radiating your face. It's awful.
So
I
again, would
hate it.
something like the Paperwhite be more up your like? Would you be open to that because it doesn't have the effects on your eyes that a screen would?
No, I have no interest whatsoever.
Really, just
Mm-mm.
totally no.
Just absolutely no.
Is it because it bothers your eyes, or is it on some kind of weird principle?
No, I mean at that point I feel like I'm just creating a weird niche for another device that doesn't need to exist, and I could just read something on my phone. Hell, I know people that was popular in Japan for a while. They were reading books like a text at a time. There were services that would do it. Crazy to me. But like, yeah, I think that would mostly be it at this point because it's like I already have the computer and the iPad and all the other crap. The last thing I'm getting is another,
So is
device.
your so I get why I wouldn't have bought that. I got it from like I said, I got it from a hand me down for either my mom or my wife. But
Mm.
and so I used it because like if somebody's gonna give it to me and like okay, it's convenient, I'll use it because it's small, and that's why I kept it. But I wouldn't have gone and bought it, so I'll agree with that. But like reading on your iPad, for example, is it because it bothers your eyes, or like on principle you refuse to read something on your iPad?
Don't know why I was starting. I'm trying to find out where this inherent, just like, because I'm violently opposed to it, as you can tell.
I know that's why I'm curious if it's a principle thing or like I don't like to read a lot on my iPad. That's why I have a Kindle app on my iPad. I've never used it because I don't like it hurts my eyes after a while. Even the Shonen Jump stuff, I'll read that and then I'll put my iPad down.
And I think
But
another
it's not on
part of
principle.
it,
It seems like a principle for you.
yeah, a little principle, and the other part of it too is it's like, well, I'm gonna go create yet another account, link yet another card, to get by. Another thing is like, no, 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 I'm not doing all of that. I'm not giving you my whatever information you're gonna try and glean from me, Bezos, because the race to a trillion got to squeeze blood from the stone. Like, get out of here. I just can't. I think after my time in IT sales, I might be generally anti-technology. Like, I'm anti-AI. I'm
I'm
anti-e-reading.
anti-AI.
I think we need. Yeah, yeah. I think it might be like I'm. Oh God, am I getting in like you're turning into a hippie garden? Am I going to be like a hipster who's like playing vinyl records and crap like that? Is that what's
I think
happening to me as I
it
regress?
seems like it's going that way, and within a few years, we're both going to be like, I'll only eat things that were grown in my garden and that I made from scratch, and
Uh,
you'll only listen to things that are on analog, and then we'll both be making our own shoes out of freaking like found leather.
yeah, I'll probably be living in some type of vehicle again. Something made in the '80s, obviously, old school style.
Well, especially
Listening
because if you buy anything in 2027 or later, it's going to be like they're going to be watching you and have a kill switch in the car. So,
Nightmare Fuel. I saw that. Oh my goodness, we
well, I know
can't.
you did. I sent it to you.
Uh, well, yeah, but I ignore a lot of stuff you said. That's not true. Although
Touche. Well played.
the one thing, I know they're trying to bait me into making an X account, but again, I refuse. No more accounts in my life. Some of the translations break for the weird Formula One news we find.
Oh, do you not have X?
No, I don't have
See, like I do.
any.
I don't ever post on it, but I have it because I like to follow things like our Formula One news and stuff because it is way easier to get things. Everything is way faster on X. Like I have not gone to a news thing. I have not watched the news or read the news on a news website in years. I only get things from multiple X places because then you can kind of fact check it against things. Um, so I have X. I just don't. I only use it to go and read stuff and send it to people. And
Yeah,
like F1, I find out stuff on F1 way faster that way than I would if I was like trying to read it on Motorsport or something.
well, F1 news this year is hilarious because it's like drivers are miserable. That is every story.
Well, yes, but it's also like I like seeing stuff like when they sign contracts. Like Turkey is back on the calendar in 2027 now. Yeah,
Huh.
so I like stuff like that. But anyway, all right. So I can kind of get why you don't e-read. I like I said, I will only buy physical media. People make fun of me because like, why don't you just buy it digital like movies especially? Why don't you buy it digitally? Like I will take the digital thing. Most first of all, when you buy a physical movie, most of the time it comes with a code for a free digital, and I will take the free code and I'll go and get it because then like if I want to watch it while I'm on a plane or something, I have the digital, but I own all those movies and they cannot be changed because they've changed movies as recently as like this year. They've gone and changed stuff because like they decided they didn't want that scene in there anymore. It's like, no, I'm not letting you, George Lucas, ruin something for me. I have the movie and it's in my house. And unless you're going to break into my house and change the disc, it's not going to be changed from what I watched.
Yeah, well, and plus, I mean, just the whole concept. This will probably close us out here because, oh my lord, it's scary. But PlayStation putting their DRM's got to check home every 30 days on the internet. Like, what
Yeah,
are we doing here? This
I
is
feel like that. Like, so I do hate that, but I feel like wasn't Xbox already doing that? I'm gonna
no.
check.
So Xbox when the 360 came out, they were like, oh, it's an always connected internet device, and people misinterpreted that to be like, oh my God, it has to be on the internet to work. That's not what they were
Got it.
saying.
Okay, okay,
That's not what they were saying. But what
okay.
PlayStation's saying is, yeah, basically you do have to check in every 30 or we will shut you down.
Yeah, you just won't like you can't play a game. And what's also funny is they're saying supposedly they're saying like anything you bought before that change is unaffected. Like
Bull.
I'll believe that when yeah, exactly. I believe that when I see it. Like I am pretty positive that if I disconnected my PS5 from the internet today, that in 30 days all of my games, which all of which were purchased before that went into effect, I bet all of them will shut down.
I bet what would happen is they would stop firing up because it would tell you, "Oh, hey,
They
my
need an update.
firmware's so out of date, or the OS on the PlayStation so out of date, it's a security issue, so you got
Yep,
to update."
exactly. It would say that
And
you needed an update, which is ridiculous.
because I don't want to just complain about this, because much more interesting and or smarter people, if they exist, will be doing it. My question is this: will this usher in a new age for the Xbox. I don't know if you've seen lately, but Xbox got a new woman running it, and
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
she's so far cut the price of Game Pass by like $6 a month. Good on her.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which
But yeah, it had gotten
bucking the
ridiculous.
trend, huge, makes me want to get it again. Um, she killed the "This is an Xbox" campaign. She greenlit the next generation.
I didn't see that she greenlit another console. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
codename Helix.
Nice. Honestly, they should just call the next Xbox the Helix. That's a cooler name than whatever they're going to use.
It is a cool name. Plus, the
Half the
Helix
time,
looks
the
like an
code names
X.
for these things are way better.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I
But
still remember, just a quick tangent. I remember back in the day, I used to get Xbox Magazine back with the original Xbox, and the original Fable game. I remember reading the article when they first teased it in Xbox Magazine, and it was codenamed Project Ego, and I still think that's a cooler name than Fable.
no, I disagree.
I thought it was cool at the time. I
I
still think
think
it's cool.
ego's relevant to the story of the game Fable. That doesn't fit.
I just think it's a cool name.
Oh well, who was your favorite Ghostbuster?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Bill Murray.
I'm trying to curious. Well, I guess it's ego versus Egon, but still, I wanted to see if you'd make that correlation. Anyways,
Yeah,
back
I
to the
don't even
initial.
remember the character names of Ghostbusters. I haven't seen Ghostbusters in years.
There
Sorry, go
was
ahead.
Venkman,
Venkman, Egon.
Egon, Winston. Wasn't that the
I don't
guy they
remember.
added later? Either way, do you think that this could pull Xbox into the lead over PlayStation? And do you think anybody can touch Valve and Steam when it comes to the future of gaming?
I don't think it'll pull Xbox ahead because I think they're, first of all, for whatever reason, console people are still mostly, you and I both have both, and I have for years, but most console people are still super tribal, which I've never understood. Like, you don't, unless, do you own stock in Sony? Like, why do you care if PS5 is better? Like, I've never understood it. I can't figure it out, but they are super tribal, and I don't think that's going to change. On top of that, the thing that's really killed Xbox is they have no good exclusives. Every major title that is exclusive, that is any good, is on the PS5. Anytime something comes out and it's exclusive, you can almost guarantee it's either going to be on Xbox and suck, or it's going to be good if it's on PS5. So
But
I think the lack of good exclusive content is what kills Xbox.
but given now that Xbox and
Because
it
they've had better tech the last two generations.
arguably, but I would say that the flow of IP seems to be going from Xbox into PlayStation versus the other way around.
That's
But
because
don't
they
you
couldn't.
think
That's
that
because they're
with
not selling consoles. I think they realized they need to just sell where they can.
well, and I still thought, with all the Azure data centers they had, they would if they could lean into, doing everything via the cloud, like why do you even need a console? But
Yeah.
regardless, I would be curious how this plays out though, because if PlayStation keeps making dumb moves like this, and with the PS6, that thing is going to be a grand.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know
they
it's going to
raised
be
the price
four
on the
figure.
PS5.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like it's going to be a four-figure console. Microsoft has much more money than Sony. It really just feels like to me if they wanted to, they could win.
If they, I 100% agree with that statement. Like if Microsoft really ever went, they never seem like they fully committed to winning the console war. Because I stand by the statement. I still think the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X were better technologically than the PS4 and PS5. The Xbox Series X uses NVMe for memory instead of a solid state hard drive. It has a faster GPU. It can process faster. Like it's a better techno. Now I don't know how it compares to the PS5 Pro because I haven't looked at that. But when they launched, the Series X was objectively better tech. The problem is, and okay, it's not pretty looking because it's a giant like rectangle, but it's basically a giant heat sink. It's actually the PS5 actually genuinely had issues of overheating and melting the motherboard because of people putting it standing up. So, um, like I think that if Microsoft could figure out their content issue and just go full bore at it, they could win. But they continually, generation after generation, screw that up. And I agree with you. Like if they came in and lowballed the price on the next gen, and like Sony came in at $1,000 and they came in at like 500 for the console, that could win it on its own. But they won't do it. They'll look at whatever Sony's price is and match it.
And I feel like honestly, the way that Xbox makes it happen is by going for, and I don't know if they would get enough cut of the revenue, but if you come in with a cheaper console, if it's somebody who's just been playing like Modern Warfare, FIFA 2K, the cross-platform games, they're not really gonna care. At least they shouldn't. Otherwise, you need better IP to your earlier point, because outside of Halo, what is Xbox's, platform? Like standouts? Fable?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Fable, and they haven't released. I mean, like, I still don't. When does the new Fable release?
I don't know, but I'm gonna look up exclusive. So let's look up the
Because
best Xbox
let's see, the
exclusives.
Xbox exclusives I can name off the top of my head and throw out more. Halo, which hasn't been good in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Fable, which they haven't released in a long time. Forza, which the
Good
last
call.
Forza was okay, but it did not. But like, there are. I like Forza better than Gran Turismo, but they're not that different. Um, they own Bethesda, so they could have made Fallout and Elder Scrolls exclusive, but they didn't.
Yeah, the only other one you haven't really mentioned is Gears of War.
I forgot. I mean, have they made a Gears game in the last two generations?
Oh no, but now I know it's on PlayStation.
Oh, it is.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
not even exclusive anymore. Like Gears of War, when it first came out, was pretty good, but I can't remember the last time a Gears of War game came out. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure there's
and
not one for the Series X.
yeah, I don't think there is. And so we've always said that was one of the big problems with Xbox, but again, even nowadays with PlayStation, like their exclusives are getting fewer and farther between. I think their exclusivities with Square is going by the wayside again.
It,
Because like you could play
Square
Final
Square
Fantasy,
exclusivity is going away. They
yeah,
have
because
said I
you could
think
do
Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy
17 will
VII.
launch on both.
Yeah.
So I agree that may not be a problem with the next gen because exclusivity does seem like it's dying. But for a while, PS5's had better exclusives because they have Sucker Punch, so they made Ghost of Tsushima, which was incredible. They have Insomniac, so they had the Spider-Man games, and they have the Wolverine game that's coming out, which is also Insomniac,
Mm.
that's exclusive. They have God of War is exclusive. They
Yeah.
had
Is God of War still exclusive?
I don't know if it still is. I'm pretty sure it is though.
Let's look up what PlayStation still
Horizon
exclusive.
Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West are exclusives. They have Final
Have you
Fantasy
played either of
16
those?
exclusive. What?
Have you played either of those?
I have not, but I know
Nor have I.
I know they're popular. I have them both because they were free at one point, but I haven't played them.
Yeah, so for okay, on PlayStation they had the Uncharted series, those were good. The Spider-Mans. I've
Yeah,
never played those.
Spider-Man 1, the Spider-Man 2 game kind of sucks. Spider-Man 1 though is the reason I bought a PS4. I had a Spider-Man PS4 because I just bought the bundle because I really wanted that game.
Oh, if you're a nerd, you get Bloodborne. Which that
Bloodborne's on
was
both though, I'm pretty sure.
is
I
it?
don't think Bloodborne's exclusive. If it is, I didn't know that, but I didn't think it was.
Uh-uh. No native port.
Oh, it's not on
Which
Xbox?
no, I didn't like Bloodborne, and I don't know why. Because
I've never played it,
I
but
got into the first Demon Souls, but eventually the Souls-like games where they just like throw you into the meat grinder and say,
I
"Yeah,
don't
if
like
you turn
I don't like
left,
Souls
you're
games.
gonna die." Yeah.
I don't like Souls games because of that exact thing. Like I don't enjoy like I have limited time to play games. I do not need to sit and play a game where the entire point is to grind. And like it's so like where you're gonna take a million years to beat a boss and you feel like that's the biggest achievement in your life. Like I don't know, game I want it to be hard enough to be entertaining, but I don't want it to be that hard. I think that's not fun for me.
Yeah, I can't think of the last time I've complained about a difficulty level in a game. Like, oh, I think it should be harder. Because I was after I beat Final Fantasy 16, I went back and I was reading some things about it, and people were complaining about, oh, it was too easy, didn't make it hard enough for the first go around. I'm like, I died on occasion. Like, yeah, I
I'm
wasn't
good with it. Yeah,
dying every
the
boss,
difficulty's
but
fine to me.
yeah, I was like, yeah, no, we're cool. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
I there was there is a mild sense of accomplishment. Like there was one of the bounties that took me like 3, 4 tries to kill. Once I finally got it, I was like, yeah, and did a little woo at the TV. But
Yeah,
then it's like,
I'm not opposed to a game being hard enough that when you beat somebody, you feel an accomplishment. Even like Crimson Desert, just which I'm still not super deep into, but I do enjoy. Like the when I fought one of the bosses, it was like it took me multiple times, and when I finally beat it, I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm okay with that, but Souls just feels like it's so hard. It's hard for the sake of being hard. It's kind of like similar to me to like eating hot wings. Like I like spicy wings. I do not, however, like them to be the atomic heat level stuff where it's hot for the sake of heat, not hot for the sake of flavor. Like I like hot, but I want to be able to still like I don't know, breathe when I'm done eating. And so when it's just hot to see if you can eat this hot thing, I don't enjoy that.
you're not trying to
Same.
risk it all for a wing and then crap fire on the way out.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Coward.
I don't want to eat the wing that like the chef has to cook with a gas mask on because there's so much chili pepper in it. It would give him lung problems. Like I'm cool with just like the one that's a little more mild that like I can it has flavor. And that's kind of how I feel with Souls. Is like it's the wings that are made by the guy with gloves and a gas mask, and it's like how hard is this boss? Like I don't care, dude.
It's
Cool,
funny.
you beat it.
My rule with eating food, especially spicy food, is whenever there's an option for like native hot, like oh get it Thai hot, Indian hot, I'm like no.
I'll go with American Hot. Yeah.
Give me white guy hot. Like I like spicy food, but I'm not trying to see God in this curry.
That's my thing exactly, and like I think we'll leave it there. We'll end it there because that's a good note to end on. Like I like spice and I like difficulty in games. Like I want it. I don't want it to be so easy that I beat the game in 5 minutes because there was no challenge. But I want it to be something where I can still enjoy the flavor, still enjoy the fun. If all I'm doing is just beating my head against the wall, it's not a fun game and it's not fun for me to
If
play. I am not playing 18 hours a day.
If I have to routinely suppress an urge to put a controller through a TV or into drywall, not that I actually would, but just like the feeling where you want to, like if I get too much of that, I'm like, this might not be the game for me.
I am with you on that. And we're never wrong because this is I'm Not Wrong. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.